Night, carol time. Holy night, all is well, and all is bright. Come, young virgin, mother of child. Oh, the infant so tender and wild, standing outside your house singing carols. Sleep in heavenly peace. The lights have been turned off, mainly because the electrician has moved everything, and we're in the darkness. If it wasn't for our nocturnal vision, we'd be in trouble. Squeak, 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 squeak. What's been happening today in the land of Boyd? More war. Easterly's kicking in, which means tomorrow's going to be hot.
It's cold right now.
We have the next 6 days over 100. You see that door there with the light? That's room 101. Winston? On a cold and lonely highway, getting east of Omaha. What'd you have for dinner?
Peanut butter, no cheese and mayo roll.
Peanut butter, cheese and mayo.
No, cheese and mayo roll.
What made you say peanut butter? Because you were thinking of it?
Yeah.
I had spaghetti bok. class is not back till Thursday. I would suggest all that Gyprock coming today. They'll probably be here tomorrow or Wednesday. Regan.
Who's Regan again?
The Gyprock guy.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of tired. I don't know if anyone will turn up. If they don't, that's this okay. But we shall just go to bed without having a nighttime natter. Of course, if I stood over in the light, took all my clothes off and ran around in circles, the room would fill. Mainly with police.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can feel that warmth coming off the desert.
I can't. I'm cold.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, being a lizard, you're cold-blooded. Dog next door can still hear us, but it's not the same for him. Like
It's not.
you
as
could hear him come
loud.
up sniff against the fence when we come outside normally, but it's like, how come it's so quiet? This time of year, I'm telling you, never don't watch it. You'll have all the old songs come out, won't you?
Huh?
All the Christmas songs will come out.
No, it's not as.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. When the treetops glisten and glow. Sleigh bells. Do-do-do-do-do. All the old movies come out. Remember when I was a kid, you used to get the same damn movie come out every Christmas called The Boy with the Green Hair.
No. But
And the irony is that this movie was black and white.
I don't know that one.
So you wouldn't know if you had green hair.
Must have been an 1800s movie.
Thanks very much.
Well, I've never heard of it.
The Boy with the Green Hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is such a thing. I hear members of the E-Beggars Association of Boyd are starting their own franchise of merchandise. And do you know the first product they're bringing out? Because it's very popular in the real world. is called Bego. Little clumps that go together. Did you get your Bego set to shit? Yeah. I had to donate money to get mine. Yeah, I know. Think of more of a contribution. Bego, the new Boyd sensation.
Someone will take that now and run with it.
Yeah, there'll be a video now.
Yep.
Bego Land.
Yep.
Bego conventions.
How to build your Bego empire.
Piece by piece and bit by bit, get your Bego. If you give a shit.
You should have called your stream Bego.
Yeah, Bego.
Because
Bego
people
Land.
run with it.
Yes. Well, the new Christmas movie from Boyd is called Boyland Green instead of Soylent Green, where people are used for food, crushed.
Yeah.
Very similar. People are definitely used on Boyd, perpetually. If you have the right narrative, and you can direct people, persuade them, yes. There's a profit in deception. Short term, unfortunately.
If the old sink wasn't so ripped, we actually could have kept it.
Yeah, no, it was bent on top anyway when they pulled it out. It was definitely well put in. But you have your new sink to take you into the future. Many hours of pleasure playing amongst the suds to
Not
look
really.
forward to.
I'm not a housekeeper.
I wash too.
Oh, God. Go to bed. Bed in a minute. You had a nana nap. You won't be tired for hours.
Oh well, catching up because I know in the next week with the every day over 100, it's unlikely to get any decent sleep.
You know. Because it affects you.
Yes, as I've aged, it's very wearing on the body. My dear, anyone that lives in constant 100-degree temperatures knows the feeling well.
Excuse me.
Hello, Buttercup.
Hello, Buttercup.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's probably not, definitely not, going to be 100 degrees where Buttercup lives for the next week. At all. There'd be no chance of that. Imagine if you lived in the UK and they had a week of over 100. There'd be a body as high and piled high as you can imagine. Buttercup might know the next place I'm going to mention. When I was a boy, when my grandfather lived in Yorkshire, there's a place called the Black Forest. I'm not making it up. It's the first time I ever saw a snake. It was an adder. And it was around the end of September. It was extraordinarily hot. I remember someone saying to me it was over 100. Thunder lightning yesterday. Well, and I know this might sound silly, but when it gets so hot where we are, there's no chance of thunder unless you get an all of a sudden cold air moving, but that's rare. This month's average temperature will be close to 100 for every day. And our normal temperatures well, we're going Celsius, it's going to be over 38 as an average, and our normal average is 29. 9 degrees hotter per day. We really shouldn't argue about global warming, man-made or not. We should look at alternatives for surviving it.
My weather thing says that London has 9.
9 degrees in London. Buttercup's not in London, I don't think. South Africa is a little bit like Australia, very dry country. They, last year, I think in Johannesburg, was so short of water, it was incredible. Yes, and I've said this before, and I'm sure you've heard it before, Buttercup, but on this planet, if there was a species of animal causing absolute destruction, and in fact, changing our climate, we as humans would eradicate it. That's what we do. But do we look at ourselves? Nah. It's true though. If humanity woke up to a species of animal tomorrow causing absolute chaos, catastrophes with our climate, they'd be dead by Sunday. The most precious item on this planet, without a doubt, is water. And wars will be fought over it. One of the ironies in what you're saying is that we've had access to free energy for a good 20 years. And we're installing free energy on our roof shortly. And we had one of the consultants come round, fairly good price, and we're putting X amount of kilowatts on the roof. And he said, you'll be able to save about $300 per bill. So Mystic went and got him our last bill and said, well, you'll be making money because we don't use that much. But you're right, there's a different source of energy that's within our atmosphere that Nikola Tesla knew all about. You remember the story of J.P. Morgan, who actually was sponsoring Tesla. Unbeknown to J.P. Morgan at the time, Tesla actually was certainly on the road to providing free energy for humanity. Of course, J.P. Morgan didn't like that idea because there is no profit in free. Yeah, we're going well. Kitchen's been changed a bit. All the power outlets have been prepped for the hardwall gyprock that has to go on. So we have no lights tonight except in the laundry. But they did a lot of work today you didn't see. Mind you, the back al fresco area is now all subfloor has been installed. I'll show that at the end of the week. Looks really good.
And I'm just tired.
Yeah.
Thinking I better start Christmas shopping or write cards out or something because I haven't done anything.
You've been busy, what, playing games?
Yeah.
Relaxing.
No, my Christmas card list has gone from, I used to send out 100 down to maybe 10 now.
That's That's what happens over time.
That's
Did have a really interesting phone conversation with my eldest son today. We will be catching up with him and the two boys Christmas Eve, and late next month in January, we will be celebrating my eldest son's 40th birthday. Yeah, we enjoyed doing it. The main part of the extension's all Jarrah hard floors. Remember your school days when you stood in the hall singing Onward Christian Shoulders on those hard wooden floors in the UK, Buttercup? That's what they're going to look like. The wife will be picking out the carpet that's going in 2 bedrooms. She's not decided yet on a final paint colour. I'm leaving all that to her. That's her area of expertise. I'm not very good on technology, Buttercup, but if you wanted to drop Mystic Angel on her email,
yeah, which she's got.
She has the technology as in a thing called WhatsApp, is that it?
Yeah, what's that?
WhatsApp, where you can actually phone each other across the planet on your normal phone using Wi-Fi for free. Isn't technology amazing? We could have a natter with you one day. But we don't have to. Just a thought. Always found it amazing when you could first talk to people on the internet on the other side of the planet. If Mystic Angel drops in her...
I think you've got my email, haven't you, Buttercup? I gave it to her the other day, yeah.
Oh, there you go. You just need... I don't know how it works, because you set mine up. You've got to download the WhatsApp app, yeah?
Yeah, just
Then-
download it on your phone.
Then you've got to add... I don't know the rest, Buttercup.
She's alright, she's got WhatsApp, she knows what it is.
Pow, bam. Oof. That was a hard landing. It's Jojo Man. Arms, hands on hips. He looks to the left. I am here. We're in the darkness tonight. Mainly because the electrician has connected all the wires that need to be connected before the hardware goes on. So he's disconnected a few lines of power so we don't electrocute ourselves. Very kind of him, I think. Very considerate.
Yes, because some of them were a bit dodgy that we were using. Probably end up with another small bill, you know, because I think that PowerPoint wasn't on the plans.
That's all right. We
Yeah.
need one there.
I know, and changing them around, I don't care, I want to get it right before the hardwall's up.
Which could be as early as
Oh,
tomorrow or Wednesday. Evening here.
Yeah, anytime you just send them. What I usually do is send people a message and say, I might try and ring you at such and such a time, and if they're available, they'll be on. So we could do that. But yeah, because during the day usually we are busy.
Oh, Jojo's singing a line out of Forever Autumn. I love this time of year. Sorry, couldn't help myself, Jojo. Da 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 da.
I just can't stop
A nice attitude of the people. You've just failed the exam, Jojo. I just see a very acrid, bitter world.
But it's not your summer, Jojo, it's your winter, isn't it?
Oh, he's like me, he likes winter. Yes, there's something special about winter. When you look into that fire, and it's been on for a while and it's cackling and cracking, and you look down and you see the little blue and green flames. It's television, BC style. Something primordial in all of us whenever you've been around a campfire or even in a fire in your home, and that little pop and crackle and sort of bits of timber fly, you look into it, you feel the memories of your ancestors. I'm sure it's primordial that we actually lit a fire. And if me and Jojo were buttercup there and lightning struck a pile of trees, 1 million BC, we'd say, look at that, that's good.
You're buffering. Or is it me?
I don't know.
Oh, it stopped.
Good idea. You're certainly not into your golden years yet, Jojo, but as much time as you can free up, even whilst you're in your prime, you should do so. It is actually in many ways when you align yourself with negativity, even though you're professing and you really are genuine in like, well, I don't want to be part of it, it rubs off on you. And you might be a bit grumpy. So I don't go to a lot of places. And there's a lot of negativity. And it doesn't mean that my opinion for other people is any more valid than theirs. But I'm entitled to have my opinion and agree to disagree. And if I don't want to go to the show because I find it unpalatable, I shan't go. But there are a lot of good people. It's like life. You both know it's true that most of the planet is made up of really good people. There's a percentage, a small percentage, of arseholes, but mostly good people are good. I remember you telling me that last year, Jojo, which is wonderful. It's one of those, a lot of people wouldn't understand what I'm going to say next, Jojo, but by giving your time, whatever it is, whether it's feeding the hungry or just talking to the lonely, you get a massive reward for doing so yourself. You don't need a pat on the back. You don't need a piece of paper saying Jojo's a good guy. You don't need any of that. The reward is doing what it is for yourself by helping others. It's very admirable. There's nothing wrong with being a good Samaritan. Unless you have an ulterior motive and you're trying to get money out of people. Boom, boom. Hey, Jojo, there's your joke of the day. I just said it. But things are changing, there's no question. I feel it in the air. Yeah, and I don't for 1 minute feel awful when someone says, like, a tin rattler, or some set up in a mall where they say, can you give some money? We have always looked after certain areas.
Yeah, some
and
of
we
them.
don't go, because look, I'll tell you, I once worked very briefly for a charitable company. It was to do with glaucoma of the eyes. And the lady was very honest with me. She said, What happens is you get 33% of whatever you collect. I sit on this desk that you bring the money to, and I take my 33%, and then I take 25% for the running of the business. You see where this is going? In the end, about 10% goes to the charity.
Yeah, you have to.
And that
look
is
into-
universal in fundraising.
Not all of them. There is the odd one that doesn't do that.
The odd one, but I would prefer to walk up to a homeless guy and stick 20 bucks in his hand and say, have a good Christmas, mate.
And I'd rather
He
give,
gets the 100% of the $20.
I'd rather give them food and clothes than money. Unless I physically went and paid their rent or something for them. Not give them the money.
It is, Jojo. Exactly what you say is the reward. And there is no, you don't get a higher chair in heaven. You don't get to sit closer to the Lord or anything like that. But it makes your own spirit feel good. And like I say, you don't have to wear a t-shirt saying Jojo helps homeless people. You don't have to do that sort of thing because you don't. You just know in your heart that you've done the right thing, because I'm sure both Buttercup and Jojo would agree we could all be in that situation at any time. That's life.
Yeah, that's right, Buttercup. That's why most of the time we seek it out ourselves. The bins they have here at the front of supermarkets that you put animal food in, that's fine. I do that.
Yeah.
Because it gets distributed amongst the different shelters. We buy stuff at Christmas time. They have a tree where you can pick an age or a male, female, boy, girl, sex, whatever. You take a ticket and you go buy appropriate present. They wrap it for you free, stick the sticker on it, and then put it back in the box. They do go to what they say they're doing. It's just some of these charities that sit up in malls and whatever, and
It's profit making. That's all it is.
I mean, we've got some of our kids do that as a job, but the ones that they do it for is forget his name. Who's the eye doctor?
Fred Hollows?
Yeah, so that we know that all goes
Yeah.
to them, goes to the Fred Hollow Foundation, but not all those charities are
They're a business.
well, they give money, but it's not enough. I don't want just $5 of my $20 going. I don't want the rest going to admin fees. Cut the admin back.
Well, that's why it's a business. It's like there's two things when you give. Generosity doesn't come from a third party. Like if I said to Jojo and Buttercup tonight, and they would, if I said to them, give me $100 each and I will go and feed some hungry people. That's not being generous at all. You know, your generosity doesn't come at the expense of other people. And it's not always money or food that you can give someone who's down in luck. It is time. And that's what Jojo does. Irrespective of will he buy some clothing or whether he feeds people, it's the time that he's getting to feed their soul. There's a huge difference. And when you realise that, that's the difference between generosity. Fundraising, raising money and giving to deserving people at the expense of other people is no generosity at all.
Yeah, it depends how you go about it, because sometimes that's how it has to be done, but it depends on how it's done.
Well, no, I mean, I would suggest that the most expensive thing that you can give anyone is time. Money's good, food's good, but time, just talking to an old lady, you're giving her, container full of food and maybe a couple of bread rolls and some fruit, that is good. But if you talk to her for 20 minutes, you've fed more than her belly.
Yeah, that's right, because shoes are a good thing, they're needed.
Yeah, I mean, particularly in America, not all parts of America, but in America right now it's very cold. And if you've got a pair of old sneakers on and soles flapping and you're stepping in puddles and you're sleeping on cardboard, a pair of shoes
And socks.
is a necessity. But most of the people, I would guarantee, most, not all, but most of the people that Jojo deals with would never ask him for anything. That is a very poignant point for me. The need of others who don't ask is who you give to.
Yeah, see, all that stuff's very handy, JJ. It's like what we do here too. Maybe you can do it, is you just go to a second-hand shop and get handbags and fill the handbags up with stuff for women, personal items. I know it sounds strange, but even
Tampons.
personal items for a woman is a necessity and can be out of reach, luxury or just hygiene products.
In our big cities in Australia, they're all over Australia now, Jojo, there are huge vans that go around, have about 2 or 3 showers inbuilt in them, and one section they also have food. So these will come up to the homeless in certain areas, and it's taken many years to gain their trust, but they all come up and they go in and their clothes are also washed. They're given a dressing gown to sit inside and eat after they've had a shower, fresh pair of undies of course, and then their clothes are put on board with the washers and dryers they've got, and then they leave there with the same clothes, or if they need something else they're given that. But these trucks go around to help people keep hygiene, feed them and wash their clothes, because surveys done, and Jojo would know this, surveys done many years ago, some homeless people don't change their clothing at all
Because they don't have it.
until it falls off.
But yeah, with the handbag idea, it's good. And for men, they'll get like just some sort of, I don't know, whatever satchels men carry or have. And they'll put stuff in it, in that for a man.
Well, the 2 old guys I knew when I was a young kid, I used to go fishing, and I told you about the old guy who had all his bundle pushed into the rocks. Lots of homeless people have 2 or 3 spots. They don't have one spot because they don't feel safe in one spot during certain parts of the night or day or weekend. So you'll find that homeless people will wander from one area to another, but be in the vicinity, not 10, 20 miles. I'm talking a mile away maybe. During summer, there's a certain place they can go, an abandoned school or something like that, and they don't get hassled, etc. So it's a case of they become masters of their environment because they know where at best it's safe. But even in Australia, homeless people are treated badly. Young men particularly, getting on the booze, find a homeless person and harass them. They don't realise that could be them. Yeah, that's why I said, Jojo, you did right. The precious thing you can give someone is time. You know, if you can just sit and talk to someone for 10 minutes, it's just 10 minutes, but to them it might be like, wow, that was fantastic. Someone talked to me. Someone cared. Well, I mean, Jojo would have come across it many times. I used to work in a prison, Buttercup. I come across it every day. But in real life, hygiene's not a high priority, particularly if you're on drugs,
Yeah,
an alcoholic.
An alcoholic or a drug.
So it's like hygiene's not a big priority.
because they're too busy getting high, whatever. But the homeless, it's a case of they don't have always somewhere to go shower or wash their clothes, or
That's
they
why
don't.
those trucks are brilliant. They not only get in and have a shower, they get their clothes washed and dried.
They can't afford the hygiene products, which some of the damn hygiene products are ridiculously priced when you think about it.
Yeah, they are. I'll go to the shop, buy some ham, some cheese and a bun. It's about $3. Wife comes over with all the women's stuff. That'll be $427, sir, thank you. But it's only cheese and a bun. Everybody, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, everybody can be that person that you feed, clothe and talk to because they're old, circumstances hit them. It's not always because they're a bad person or they mistreated others in life and end up as desperate and homeless. It can happen to anyone. We've got, what's it called? I think it's called the Blue Blanket in winter. In my city, Melbourne, Sydney, not that one because it's too damn hot. It's mainly Adelaide, Perth, Sydney and Melbourne and the ACT, where there's a group of people called the Blue Blanket. And all they do is they go and find homeless people and they talk to them first, maybe give them a bit of food, but they take their old blankets off them and give them brand new ones. And then they dispose of the old blankets. It seems inane and like, well, how much help is that? It's enormous. If you've got a couple of blankets wrapped around you, sleeping rough, and they're warm and they're new, instead of the old ones that are falling apart, just like Jojo said about the shoes, very important. And it was explained to me from an old guy in prison who said, when you're homeless, you are your home. I said, what do you mean by that? He says, wherever you go, that's your home. So you have to make do with what you find, or if you get given something. It stuck with me for the rest of my life when I realised what he meant was, it's true, like a snail, a homeless person, wherever they go, that's home.
That's our neighbour's dog, Jojo. We don't have a dog yet. Probably because the laundry window's open. Are you going to shut that or not, father?
I can close it if you like, but that security fan, you wouldn't be able to get through there with an axe. That's really good stuff. But I'll close it if you like. A lot of things homeless people rarely do. And one is smile. Yes. See that glint in their eye when you just, have a joke with them. And they laugh. Because there's not much to laugh about when you're alone, lonely, cold, hungry, and you think the world has just passed you by. That's exactly how they feel. And yet, a lot of homeless people are angry. Some justifiably, some not, but because the world they feel has thrown them away. And everybody's worth something. Oh, look, what you just said is very poignant, Buttercup, because you don't have to be homeless to be in pain and alone and lonely. It just magnifies your life on the downward side when you are homeless. Many people are not homeless and they have food in the fridge and they have a house, but they're in pain just the same. Add homelessness to that, that's pretty shitty. I wonder if he's been fed, next door's dog.
No, he doesn't do that often. It's like, maybe there's a cat or something. 'Cause he doesn't usually bark like that this time of night. I mean, there's 2 walls between us now. We used to sit at the back here with nothing, and he never did that.
No, it's true. There's an old song, it's my favourite of my mother's, who's passed away. It was actually played at her funeral. It sort of emphasises when times are tough and what you should do. You know the one, Buttercup? When you walk in a storm, hold your head up high. That one. If you listen to all the lyrics of that, it pretty much sums up. You've got to try and get through, you've got to push through. Yeah, I think it's one of the guys I used to visit the prison before prisons come out, and he'd try and find places for them. That was his. It just a volunteer, try and find places they could go, all that sort of thing. And he said exactly what you said. It's like watching a little kitten, no longer shaking and shivering because you've washed it and put a blanket around and given it something to eat. He says it's that sort of feeling that they can, for a moment, relax and feel safe. That's it. And don't be afraid of the dark at the end of a storm. There's a golden thingy and the sweet silver sound of the lark. I used to hear that a lot. When I was a kid, my mother came from Manchester, and they always went round a piano with lots of alcohol consumed, and they'd be singing until 5 a.m. Kid you not. Some I wouldn't call singing, by the way. You know when someone's really bad at singing, but they're the loudest in the room? Yeah, Uncle Frank was like that. And you'll never be alone. Have a great day, mate. I hope you have a wonderful day. Get yourself a coffee somewhere and treat yourself every now and then. And on that note, I think we're heading to bed, Buttercup, because we're tired. Because we're older people, very old. And we live in a land down under, where women glow and men thunder. Man, it's going to be a hot week. Average temperature is going to be about 103. But we have the modern technology. We have air conditioning. Hope you have a great day, everyone. And we'll catch up with all of you another time. Be safe.